All right, Schluter shower pan subfloor. So I heard it was super important to get the floor nice and level for the prefabricated Schluter pan. And my floor was a mess. It was a mess in a few different ways. And so I was really torn whether to do this hardy backer board or to do self-leveling concrete. And I couldn't decide for 3 or 4 days. I just kind of slept on it and slept on it and thought about it. And then I decided to go ahead and do this technique here. So so the plan is now this is 1/2 inch hardy backer board right here. And then I'm just going to show you this subfloor. Now I got this nice and level. And getting this thing level was a little bit tricky. I just want to show you something here. Pull this up. Give you a look underneath at the mess I was dealing with under here. Alright. Down up there. Okay, so I repaired the joists underneath, created some framing. I had this one hole over here that I ended up filling with liquid nails, and it actually came out pretty good. And then, so the floor, besides being all patchy and just having holes and stuff like that, it had some problems with being level still. Like this board right here was curiously thick that somebody else had installed. It was more like 7/8 instead of 3/4. My 3/4 inch plywood. So there was an 1/8 inch gap just right there. And then I had this condition going on right here where you can see the cat's paw going in all the way right there. And then on the other side, there's no space. So the floor had a dip that kind of starts in the middle, gets worse towards this side. And then so what I did was, to make myself some reference points, I started at my high corner here. It took me a little while to figure out what the high corner was. And then I did a screw for reference over here with the level. All right, and then I did another screw right there in the middle. And then I did one right here. And then one right here. And you can see that one is driven down further because the floor was less unlevel. And then I put one here in the middle of my 3/4 board. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it sticking up there. And then I had to do the same thing back in here with some screws. They're hard to see, but you get the idea. All right, so now you wouldn't want to put your hardy backer down on those screws and have that be the only thing. So I'm using this 1/2 inch trowel. So you can see, because at first you would think, oh, this isn't going to work. But you can see how the 1/2 inch trowel is. Oops. I don't know why it won't focus. When I apply this, the Schluter all set, and it will run high over those, and that will allow me to squish down to those reference points. And then what I'll do is, so I'll put the Schluter all set on, which they say you can put over bare plywood or bare wood. At first I was thinking I was going to prime this, but then I did some more reading, and Schluter says basically don't worry about that Schluter all set product is good to put just right on the plywood. So then I'm going to mix up, I'm just hoping like 1/4 of a bag will do it. And then I'm going to use a scale to measure out 12.5 pounds, figure out what the water needs to be, and then make myself, let's just call it a leveling course of the Schluter all set to support the hardy backer board and give me a nice level surface in the end. And a uniform surface. Like I might have been able to get away with somehow putting that Schluter pan just right over this subfloor. because the difference is maybe not more than a half inch, but it would have been real thin on this side, like an eighth of an inch, and been real thick over there. And I just didn't feel like I could get everything leveled out with that flexible, sort of semi-flexible Schluter shower pan. Now, I think you could also do this with self-leveling concrete, but you would have to take some time and make yourself a little swimming pool for wet concrete. I mean, you'd have to do some caulking in all the little corners, figure out how you're going to fill up all the holes, figure out how you're going to keep concrete from going down in that hole. Maybe run yourself some foam around that, or I mean, you could figure it out. And but you know, this Hardy Backer, it was only $18 or something like that. So, and then it took me, maybe I spent an hour trying to get all my little, let's call them screw shims, at the right heights. But I feel like I'm onto something here now, and I feel pretty happy with it. So my next step is to go ahead and mix that stuff up and put that leveling course of Schluter all set down, and then lay that Hardy Backer back on there, and hopefully, presto, I guess presto, bingo, bango, I'll have a nice level floor for the Schluter shower pan. All right, stay tuned for the next episode where I will actually fit the Schluter shower pan in there and see how it all fits. Although my plan is to do the walls and the ceiling first. I still have to work out the ceiling. We're going to do tile on the ceiling too, but all right. Well, that's it for now.